Hey everyone, welcome back with DBZ Budokai, where today we're going to continue our playthrough of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 on the PS2, of course. And now we are on stage 3, Planet Namek. Don't worry, like I said, it's like the ending cutscene of last, mission. A lot of these cutscenes are just not voiced. I don't know if it's because they don't have the files or they forgot about it or whatever. It's just weird. This one isn't voiced. And there's a little bit of strangeness associated with it as well. Like, Frieza saying, tee-hee. And yep, I don't know why he's here. There's a lot of plot holes with the story that we're going with and the what-if stuff with this. Like, why is Vegeta here? That's an issue people have. Yeah, imagine Vegeta saying, tee-hee. Tee-hee, Kakarot. So once again, we get to pick one more ally, just like usual. However, we have the chance to get a new ally, and well, it's no secret, obviously, that's going to be Vegeta. This time, I think we're going to go with Hercule, though. I mean, what better person to have on your team than the World Martial Arts Champion himself? Well, we got his false courage, I guess. I also don't have his breakthrough, but I think that these are... Yeah, I think these are all his ultimate moves. It's got two of them. There's kind of just two I want to show off, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the physical moves and whatnot. I think they're pretty cool for a lot of characters, but when a lot of characters have the actual abilities, I think those are obviously the best, because all the physicals are just copies for the most part of each other. Alright, we got our first battle right here. The Prince of All Saiyans. Tee-hee.
Kakarot, it's you! This is perfect! Before I defeat Frieza, I will dispose of you!
Vegeta, this isn't the time for us to be fighting! If we don't get rid of this Frieza guy, things are going to get awful!
Grumble all you want, but do it after you've fought me!
Now I'm going to get into a little bit of the critiques, a little bit more about the issues I have with the story up to this point. Now, of course, I absolutely love this game. I love the story, but let's be honest, everybody ever, a lot of people say, oh, well, you complain about this and that and nothing, yada yada, just enjoy the game. Of course I enjoy the game, but if we're all being honest, everybody has things that they would change or just ideas that they think would make better, even when I'm sharing here, that doesn't mean you guys are all gonna like go, oh yeah, great, I agree, exactly what I was thinking. Maybe you will, but it's everybody has their own ideas on how they think, things that they would add, essentially is what I'm saying. So I don't think I'm complaining about the game, because I think, once again, I said last video, I think this is the most replayable of the whole Budokai series, which, once again, I guess it could be up for debate with Budokai 3 and whatnot, but, starting this next fight, I'll get into something that bothers me about this game.
Have you decided to fight me seriously yet, Kakarot?
Yeah, it looks like I really will have to settle things with you first.
So I already mentioned, what is Vegeta doing here, but, it's not that big of a deal. One thing I think would have made the last level a lot better, I was going to mention it, I kind of forgot to mention it, was if you remember the Budokai 1 playthrough, Zarbon and Dodoria were both in that game. They didn't have a lot of moves, and I'm assuming that's why they were taking out of Budokai 2, due to the lack of, strong movesets, which is kind of lame because they do have, these two games were perfect because they had, like, the physical moves to add, more moves artificially, right? Well, they took them out of this game, and I think the last level, if it was Frieza and the two henchmen you were facing were Zarbon and Dodoria, and for all we know, maybe that was the actual plan, I don't know. And, things got changed during development or whatever, but I think it would have made this story stronger if, Frieza escapes, and as backup insurance, he calls Vegeta and,
Just this once, I'm going to help you out. Otherwise, I'm afraid we won't beat Frieza. But don't you forget, someday I will settle the score between us.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But, Frieza escapes to Namek, he contacts Vegeta, and, Frieza, they could have said, oh, he's hinting at something. They knows that Vegeta's maybe not all for Frieza or whatever, scamming, plotting against him or whatever, so Frieza calls in the Ginyu Force's backup, you know, I think that would have been really cool, you know, or like even like, you know, we don't kill Zarbon and Dodoria, it's hinted at somehow that Vegeta did, you know, when they first got here, and that's why Frieza calls the Ginyu Force or something like that, and then the Ginyu Force are like a big deal, because, you know, you're about to see when Vegeta fights the Ginyu Force, you know, he takes him as a serious threat and this and that. Goku has already fought them, so with his interactions with the Ginyu Force, even in that last level, were just kind of like, hey, I already beat you.
The Ginyu Force? So the captain himself is stepping up, huh? Where are the rest of you?
The others are headed to another planet. Recome and I will be more than enough to handle you. Though it's a shame we won't be able to perform our special fighting pose. No matter. I could use the exercise. I'm gonna thoroughly teach you a lesson.
Well, if you're going to do this, then let's get started.
But yeah, you know, I think it would have been cool if, hey, you know, jeez, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I think I actually explained my point pretty much to completion right before that cutscene. It just would have been cool, you know, and added more variety to the story mode if they had this level for exclusively the Ginyu Force, and then Dodoria and Zarbon, you know, the ones who joined Frieza on Earth. And it would make sense because those are the two guys that are, you know, Frieza's right-hand man that pretty much have to go everywhere with him. Whereas the Ginyu Force are the guys that they kind of, in the show, pretty much into that, they're Frieza's top guys, and they're so important that they kind of just get to do whatever the hell they want. So, pretty cool stuff. I think it would have been if they actually did add that kind of stuff to the story. But I'm assuming, I don't know why they took them out exactly, but I even just kind of, it's never stated, but it does feel like one of those things where it feels like that's kind of where the original intent of the story was to begin with, just kind of how it matches up anyway. But I could be talking out my butt, you know.
That was quite an attack, Vegeta. To think that you could beat me even once. How about it? Would you care to join the Ginyu Force? Come on! If you join us, I'll think up a special fighting pose for the 6 of us.
Huh? Never! How would you ever expect me to perform such a ridiculous pose?
I see. In that case, I have no choice. You'll just have to die, Vegeta!
And speaking of more cut content, I'll actually be going over kind of similar thoughts on more topics starting next episode as well, and a little bit of my theories about cut things. But I will acknowledge another thing that I think a lot of people do have, you know, that I can understand a point of why they don't like Budokai 2 to begin with, is because, you know, they did take a lot of games, especially around this time, it was almost always just adding things rather than removing things. That was kind of just a progress bar at this time. That's kind of, you know, par for the course nowadays. Like, if we're being honest, like, usually, like, a game that comes out, especially on next gen, like a fighting game, the Mortal Kombat games, we're getting less and less characters from the start to begin with, and all that other stuff, and it sucks. But around this time, it was just normal to where every single game we got more, you know, even with the Yaki games, the wrestling games, eventually in the PS2 we got, you know, crazy things. So it's just kind of like Tekken 4 to Tekken 5, we get the roster pretty much almost doubled. So I can understand why, you know, even though we got some more things, I think, to kind of compensate for what we have in this game, I can acknowledge that there's a lot of stuff that we kind of got cut for no reason.
As of today, the Ginyu Force is hereby dissolved. Would you care to join the Vegeta Special Forces instead?
What? I trust your special fighting pose is pretty cool, right? Wait, nah, forget it. I like my own pose.
You really are one ridiculous fool.
I think they even read reference to that scene later on in, like, the Xenoverse games. I think there's, like, special missions where I think Captain Ginyu takes over Vegeta's body or whatever, so it's like Vegeta doing the poses and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people say that, you know, that those missions are kind of like a reference to this game and whatnot. there are a lot of like interesting, funny, goofy interactions in this game that I think are just really funny. They're very memorable interactions, I'd say. And once again, like I said, you can have all sorts of different interactions depending on the situation. Usually it's two with Vegeta and Ginyu in particular. These two, you know, they have that third interaction that is unusual, which, you know, for the most part, most players aren't going to figure that out. But if you want to unlock Ginyu, you have to be in with Vegeta. Just a small little tidbit, you know. But obviously we already have them unlocked, so we get the life extract for, I think it's at 1,000. And now Frieza's pissed. Every time you beat the Ginyu Force members, Frieza gets like a buff in this level. And just another thing I'll say, I'm not obviously going to demonstrate it this time, but if you did want Goku's Super Saiyan ability, the way to get it is you have to actually have Krillin die on this level. So, obviously you have to have all your health bars get taken out or whatever. Like, you just have to keep losing until you have no more green bars for health or whatever.
Recome, huh? Ginyu Force! Recome! Huh?
Which I think that is a cool reference to the show. However, for whatever reason, Krillin doesn't have any voice lines with Frieza, which you would think that's something they would put in, but no. That's kind of where a lot of the lameness, I think, kind of shows in certain aspects of this game, in which they don't have dialogue for specific characters. In a lot of situations that would make sense, in my opinion. But then also, it's kind of tough because with every other character in the game, beating Frieza in this level is usually what gets you, you know, their first tier transformation. So beating Frieza with Piccolo gets you the sync with Now. Beating him with Vegeta gets the Super Saiyan form. And just like in last episode, beating Frieza in the second level will usually get the enhanced force physical attack for your character and whatnot.
Aye! That's enough warm-up exercises. Now, let's get started.
Darn, this freak is tough.
So even with how grindy this game can be, there's usually guidelines that each, you know, level sets for, like, okay, you'll get this specific ability if you beat it with this specific character, you know, for this level, for beating this boss, essentially, which I think is cool. It's a nice guideline, but then again, it doesn't always work like that. Like, usually you would get, you know, your ultimate attack by beating the final boss in this game, but for some reason, you know, characters like, I think, Yamcha and Tien, you just don't get your ultimate attack for doing that. They're, like, just not, I don't know, the game just doesn't register the fact that, like, they're on the same level as like a Goku or Vegeta or whatever. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But we took out Recome, we took out Ginyu. Vegeta's on a roll here, fellas. But I think it's time for him to step back a little bit, because we're gonna unleash, you know, the real martial arts champion here. The only guy who can really save us from, you know, the terror. Let's see where this takes us. Alright, cool. That saved me like 6 moves. Alright, I'm counting on him to come after me now. Alright. One thing you can say about Frieza is he's not a coward. I also love this Namek stage, how it's just... that's another thing that I think is just really cool about the Budokai games, is that, you know, even though they have like the Plains Arena and the Namek Arena, and I think the Cell games and stuff like that, when you actually look at it from game to game, they didn't just port over the same stage, they actually redid the entirety of the stages every single time. So this isn't the same one as the one that's in Budokai 1, if I'm correct, and I know for a fact it is not the same Namek stage that's in Budokai 3. The Cell games in Budokai 1 is not the same one that's in Budokai 3 as well. So, I mean, that's just so awesome that they did that, when they realistically, nobody would have complained at all if they did just kept pouring over the stages and added new ones, but they went above and beyond. I think the hidden stage, the Red Ribbon Army stage in this game, I think it returns in Budokai 3, and it's the same stage, but, you know, that's just a bonus stage, so it's no big deal, in my opinion, and, you know, I think that's just a really cool concept for a stage anyway, but, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it does kind of stink that this game in particular, they remove stuff, and yeah, they replace it with a few different things, but I think you could argue, I understand people's arguments when they say it doesn't really amount to, you know, being worth it. You know, like Frieza's forms, like I mentioned in the last video, Cell doesn't have any of his forms, it's just perfect form, so we lost Zarbon, Dodoria, and Android 19, unfortunately, and they were all supposed to come back in, you know, Budokai 3, but unfortunately that was also not the case for some strange reason. I don't know. But that was actually a much more difficult fight than I thought, so I'm not sure if, I think I might finish him with somebody else. Plus, I'll, you know, I'll spoil you guys by letting you see some more interactions and whatnot, but yeah, we'll just go away. We'll let Goku handle this, you know. Hercule can't hog all the glory, you know. He's a humble man, as we all know.
You again? Don't tell me. You're a Saiyan too?
Yeah, I'm a Saiyan from Earth.
I see. I once killed a Saiyan on planet Vegeta that looked like you. You're his son, huh? How fun. You'll get to share his fate.
For the sake of all the people you killed, I'm going to beat you.
I feel like the voice actors and actresses took weird liberties in some of these Budokai games. Like last game, if you remember Nappa, he just sounded like he had a Brooklyn accent for whatever reason. I don't know if it was because it was a different voice actor than what was in the show, or if he just put that on there and figured nobody would notice or something like that, but like, or maybe I'm thinking of a New York accent. Maybe it's the same thing, I don't know. But he had a weird accent, and in this game, Frieza in particular just talks so much slower than he normally would. Don't tell me you're a Saiyan too. Like, I just think that's so funny. I can't stand it when that happens in this game. When like I freaking when I use my ultimate attack and the game can't just be like, all right, you know, we'll let you have this one. You know, he has a sliver of health, one punch left, but we can't do that for you, bud. Here, I think we'll let Vegeta have a little chime. That's kind of funny that Goku can power up Hercule, Mr. Satan. What do you guys know him as? You know him as Hercule or Mr. Satan? Because in North America or whatever, I feel like it's just like Hercule. Like that's how I know him. Obviously, he's Hercule in this game too. But in a lot of places, you'll just hear him being referred to as Mr. Satan. So I don't know.
That was a close one just now. How can you have that kind of power? You miserable Saiyan!
I don't get it. I barely even touched him.
That actually hurt. It hurt!
And I don't know if it's something like you have to lose to Frieza or something like that to get a different cutscene, but yeah, like that's how I thought the cutscene always takes place, but yeah, I'll probably send a link to it down below. I might even do it for all my videos just because it deserves the attention of, you know, all the interaction dialogue and whatnot, because there's so much of it. You know, I've been gushing about it pretty much non-stop for my entire playthrough, so I'm sorry if, you know, you guys are watching, you're sticking with me, and you're getting annoyed at me saying that. I'll just say, you know, this, you know, there's a lot of interactive dialogue. I'll put a link to the person who actually put what I believe to be all of it in one video, and you know, it's just so entertaining because I mean, it's literally, it would take me hours just to even attempt to do it all. So I'm so glad somebody was able to do that, find hidden cutscenes that I would never even dream about finding. So you know, I'll put that down below for you guys to check down in the description. Maybe I'll put it in the comments or something like that, but that way you guys can enjoy. Got a capsule. Oh, and by the way, I think I may have mentioned, I can't remember if I did or not. Oh boy, Frieza's pissed. But, this is taking a lot of time. I don't think I remember. I may have mentioned it, but I can't remember. I actually used a cheat to get the majority of my capsules for this, but I got lazy and didn't go all the way.
Frieza!
You'll pay for this! Did you hear me, Vegeta? I'm going to kill you 1 inch at a time!
Go ahead and try to. If you think I'll be done in that easily, you're terribly mistaken.
Listen to yourself. Apparently, you have forgotten how terrible I can be. Let me refresh your memory.
Alright, so fellas, I decided to lose that battle on purpose, legitimately. But, you know, so we could see this next cutscene for Vegeta as well. Like I said, I'm not going to really make this a priority anymore after this video, because I'm going to put it down in the links below, but...
Let Frieza or anyone else come at me. During that last battle, my Super Saiyan powers were awakened.
Are you sure about that, Vegeta? Or have you just become so terrified that it is affecting your sanity?
Go ahead and laugh while you can, because standing before you is that which you have feared most, Super Vegeta!
Super Vegeta? Your jokes are as petty as ever, huh?
Haha! Kakarot won't even get a turn!
I think it's a little too late for that, Vegeta, but... You know, whatever, your heart's in the right spot. So yeah, that last fight was actually half health anyway, so... it's a little bit of a cheat there. Something you guys can use. But speaking of cheats, to finish off my point of the cheats before that last thing, and the PS2 version only for this game, I don't know why, I don't know if it was a debug feature, why it happens, the significance of it or whatever, I don't know if anybody does. But if you go in and out of the skill shop in the game while holding L1 and L2, you know, just back and forth, you'll just get free capsules. And it's not even stuff that's in the shop, it's just random stuff, so you can eventually just get 100% off of that. But we got that awesome, nice little finish there. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check out next week's episode as well if you're interested. And if you enjoyed, like and subscribe. But above all else, please remember to have a nice day.
Darn it! Darn it all! I warn you, if it comes to me being killed by you, then I'd rather die by my own hand. But I am not going to die. You are the ones who will. I'm going to destroy this planet!
Yikes! If I don't get out of here soon, the whole planet's going to explode! Here it is! With this spaceship, I'll escape from Planet Namek.